Welcome to Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Our guests share their hard-won wisdom to help you grow your coaching business and create a life of success. So get ready to unlock the blueprints to your success. So welcome everyone to our newest episode today. I'm very excited to introduce you to Steve Gamlin. He has a long history of all kinds of audio production and different shows and things. So he's going to tell us all about it, but he is actually a visualization and vision board coach. Welcome, Steve. I want to hear all about that. Tell us how you became a visualization vision coach.
Thank you so much, and very honored to be here and looking forward to this interesting conversation. For me, the whole journey started when I was 11 years old. I wanted to be a radio DJ like my hero, Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian because Steve Martin was huge at the time, making people laugh. I wanted to be an author of my own books, and I wanted to be a teacher of people, but not in a classroom. And over time, I started actually visualizing, even then, before I even knew what it was. I started to just picture what it would look like, feel like, and sound like. And I started to pretend I had my own radio shows with my dad's old tape recorder. I used to write jokes and song parodies to share on the bus to make other people laugh. I used to write short stories and make my own little stapled together books. And I just loved to be around people, inspire them to do or say or feel something positive. And all these years later, in many ups and downs in between, I'll be 57 in 2025. I've gotten to do them all.
I love that. That's fantastic. You had quite a lot of ambition there. WKRP DJ, did you see they always bring out the turkey episode at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I actually have a t-shirt, the official WKRP turkey drop t-shirt that my wife bought me a couple of years ago. So right around Thanksgiving every year, that makes an appearance.
Oh, brilliant. And then Steve Martin?
Yes.
I love
Crazy.
him.
His Wild and Crazy Guy album was one of the most incredible success stories for him in the late 70s. And I used to fall asleep at night listening to it and just kind of absorbed the timing and the structure. And I just thought it was such magic to be able to make people laugh.
Yeah. Did you know he's actually not a funny person? Like he had to study comedy because it didn't come naturally to him.
Yeah. He's a very serious person who had a difficult childhood, a very fractured relationship with his dad. He found it along the way and perfected it.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about what you do as a visualization and vision board coach.
Mostly these days, since the pandemic, I work with entrepreneurs who are so frustrated with the hustle and grind mindset. We were all sold that bill of goods years ago. Get a good education and a good job with a good company and put your head down for 45 years and retire with great benefits. So many people over the past couple of years have said, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back to that. What's the purpose? I don't even know what my life's purpose is anymore. I'm just sitting there grinding and grinding and grinding, forgetting about my own health, my own emotions, my relationships, my family, my faith, my core values, everything. So the pandemic was not a pleasant time, but a lot of learning came from it, a lot of opportunity for people to change the direction their lives were going and shift in the way that I teach visualization and vision boards from what you get to who you become. So a lot of the goal planning that I do with people is working on creating a vision for and then an action plan to achieve the best, happiest, brightest, boldest, most butt-kicking version of themselves.
I love that. You know what you're setting them up for is a great retirement, because that's when, people who typically traditionally worked 9 to 5 and then all of a sudden they stop working and they don't know who they are.
Yeah, I remember my dad saying that. And his health was starting to fail by the time he finally retired. And he looked around one day and he goes, this is it. He said, this is the golden years. And he only lived for a couple of years past his retirement. He had several health issues going on, but his spirit was really deflated at that point because here he thought it was going to be this, open the door to this great light in this amazing life. And he even said, he goes, this is what they told us to expect. And that's not what I got.
Yeah, that's so hard because there are people who, they work all their lives for retirement and then they're not happy in retirement or something happens that they didn't expect. So I love that you're helping people now enjoy and appreciate what they're doing, because having been a 9 to 5 office person and now an entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong with enjoying what you do. And there's happiness to be found, every day. I mean, I'm so grateful that I have the freedom that I have.
And even the people that can't necessarily jump from a 9 to 5, one of my first coaching calls before I was even really a coach was somebody very close to me who works the 9 to 5 and is very successful at what she does, works to exhaustion. I mean, she really puts in the hours. And she was ready, so frustrated, to chuck it all because she wanted to work with children with disabilities. But the nonprofit world at the time would not have paid her anywhere near what her job did. So I just made a suggestion. How can you just get a flavor of that? Just a taste. We called it slivers. How can you just make these little slivers of time so enticing and rewarding that you won't mind working 50, 60, 70 hours a week? And within a couple of weeks of that call, she sent me a picture of her with a handful of kids with disabilities, and the other volunteers were at a bowling alley for a couple of hours. And she goes, got to go bowling with the kids today. There's a picture of her with a great big smile. And she goes, I get what you meant. So she started to volunteer once or twice a month, and then walked dogs at an animal shelter, and then adopted 2 cats from the same animal shelter. So it's all these little things of just, even if you can't ditch the 9 to 5, I get it. How can you find those moments of light and immerse yourself in those experiences to kind of rejuvenate your soul a little bit and keep your fire lit?
I love that. We don't all appreciate that even that little amount of time can make a huge difference and can remind you why you're working so hard, because this is maybe something you want to do more of when you can. So do you have people like make a list of what they want to do? I mean, how do you get them to the point of feeling like they're able to take a little bit of time and find those nuggets?
The first place we start is, where's your life right now? And not enough people do this. They say, I'm not happy here, so I want to go here. And then they wind up chasing this mythic version of themselves all over. So kind of thinking like a GPS. I'll just ask people, how's your life right now? And sometimes they just go, it stinks. That's why I'm talking to you. Okay. I work with a pretty standard tool in the personal development world. It's the life wheel. It's got 8 spokes to the wheel: your physical health, your emotional well-being, your closest relationships, your core values that guide everything you think, speak, and do, your faith, which kind of does the same thing, but the power comes from a different direction, your connection to the world in real ways, and then your business, whatever you do for work, and your money. And I'll ask them to evaluate. If you're a numeric person, give me a 1 to 10. If you're a creative, descriptive like I am, start to tell me a story about each part of your life. And let's establish where point A is. And then tell me 1 year from now. Don't give me the 20-year goal thing. I mean, if you got a big goal, that's fine. What's 1 year's worth of progress for that? But I'll ask them, what would you like your life to be like 1 year from now in each of those categories? And don't say 10 for all of them, because that's a lot of work and it's not realistic for most people. Tell me where you want to go, and tell me what you want it to look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like. Let's start to weave our senses into all of this. Let's create a story that you could tell and you can really feel 1 year from now. And let's get you started with an action plan to get there. And of course, the most important question, why do you want that? And I dig for emotion, because somebody did that to me a number of years ago, asked me why I became a speaker. And I just said, I want to help people. And 17 whys later, with tears coming out of my eyes, I remembered why I do this, because a friend of mine believed in me when I didn't in 1992 to get into radio. Got my first job, and he passed away 3 weeks later. And the lesson was, when someone believes in you, even if you don't, trust them. They see something in you. So as a coach and as a speaker, I want to be that friend. I want to be my friend Danny for anybody I work with, and help them understand where they are, where they want to go.
Oh, we appreciate your friend Danny for what he did for you. I totally can see that, oftentimes people do see things in you that you don't see yourself. And this lady laughed at me one time because she said, you don't play poker, do you? And I said, well, I do, but not very well. She goes, because you have all this emotion on your face. So, like you with your clients, you can tell when somebody's really excited about something like that really, touches a core in me. And then I'm guessing those are kind of the directions you take them in.
Yeah, it's such a joy for me. I tell them, I said, look, we're going to laugh together, cry together. You're going to see me off camera, jumping up and down and screaming for you here in my recording studio and cheering you on and dropping audio or video DMs to them. And I said, look, I'm like Lint, you're pretty much stuck with me now. And just the authenticity that goes back and forth is the most joyful part of coaching for me.
I love that. Well, tell us a little bit more. You told us about one of your clients, but do you have other clients, maybe favorite ones or favorite stories about, where they were when they came to you, and then how you kind of help them move along to where they wanted to be?
Yeah, one of my favorites is legendary in her company and in our social media circles. Her name is Jeanne. And Jen works for a company that has hired me now. Next month will be my 17th year in a row, teaching their entire company vision boards, visualization, and doing some coaching. And about 6 years ago, she came to me after the in-person event that year. They've been virtual the last few years. And she goes, okay, Steve, I got all my goals and all my stuff here done. She goes, the biggest one, I want to go to Africa on a safari, because her favorite animal on the planet is giraffes. And she wants to see one up close, and if she can, just to pat and touch a giraffe on the Serengeti. And I said, okay, How much is it going to cost? I don't know. All right, call a travel agent this week. Action. Then when we found out it was going to cost $10,000, I said, how long, in addition to all of your bills and everything else you're doing, will it take you to raise that? She said 2 years. I said, great. So we started to take action. I went online and found a shower decal of a mama and a baby giraffe for $4.97 and sent it to her. It's still in her shower. So she sees the giraffes every day. As word got out that that's what she wanted to do, I created a hashtag for her, Giraffe Africa. She is now hashtag Giraffrica Jeanne. Everybody knows her as Giraffrica Jeanne. Found a kid's coloring book, a giraffe, 10 spots on it. So I wrote 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500. And then there were 2 extra spots. There were 12. Her name and her now husband's name. Sent it to her. That was her tracking system. And all of a sudden, when she started to put word out there and share in her Facebook group for her clients and her team members and anywhere on social media, the hashtag Giraffrica Jeanne, people started sending her giraffe pens, giraffe jewelry, giraffe stickers, giraffe everything. In just over 2 years, it took an extra month or so, she raised the last $500. She would color in the circles on the giraffes during Facebook Lives, weekly updates for her clients and team members. And the pandemic happened, so it got delayed a couple of times, but she is finally going next year on her trip.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So when you have people do a vision board, you don't necessarily have them do like a traditional board with pictures on it. They can do it. It sounds like they can do it different ways. Like she had a sticker in her shower and her hashtag on social media. Because I think, at least for me, when I think of vision board, it's, a poster board with pictures on it.
Yep. She still had the traditional board, but what she did was in all areas of her life, she would set up reminders and have these touch points and these little augmented just spots of inspiration for her. But she still had her traditional board, which is something that I do with all of my clients. But then we just try to say, okay, what else can we do with this? And also with the boards, take a picture of your board, make it the wallpaper on every digital piece of equipment you have, your phone, your laptops, your tablets, make it the wallpaper. If you're in your car a lot, especially for sales calls or anything, great, print out a picture of your vision board, fold it up, put it in the visor. And every time you stop somewhere for a meeting, you look at that board and you say, this meeting is going to get me one step closer to just one of these pictures. In the course of all of this, Jen went from being ranked somewhere in the 20s in her company. By the time we were done, she was number 3. And she has climbed as high as number 2 for sales in the years. And the person who's number 1, who is crushing everybody, is one of her closest friends and mentors.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So she's aligned with the greatest people to keep her going and growing and showing up.
Well, yeah, and I would think, when you've set a goal like that and you've accomplished it, or, this close to accomplishing it, and you can, it builds your confidence and it makes other aspects of your day, your world, your business, your personal life that much better and more meaningful.
Yeah, we've definitely created a monster. She said that a couple of times. She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, I can't go anywhere where somebody doesn't look at me and say, Giraffrica. And it's great because I said, you've got an army of people cheering you on. Come on. You're inspiring, meaning her, so many people to go for their goals. Toughest things got the last couple of years with the pandemic. It bumped her trip for years from when she was originally going to go. It's there. It's ready to go. When the time is right, she will go. And she will send me a picture of her with a giraffe. And one of my favorite things to do is whenever my wife and I travel and we see a giraffe or anything, I found a stuffed animal giraffe that was taller than I am in Las Vegas at some shop. And I told my wife, I go, hey, look at that giraffe. She goes, go ahead. So I go pose with it and we send the picture to Jen. So that's my favorite part of coaching, is seeing opportunities to cheer on my clients.
Yeah. And it sounds like you must have some kind of like group that support each other.
We do. I've got a Facebook group called Build Your Best Life Using Vision Boards. And we've got some cool people in there who like to share some really cool little moments in their lives.
Oh, yeah, that's so fun. Because it does make a difference, even if it's nobody you've ever met, but you've chatted with on social media. It does make a difference when people say, hey, you got this, you can do this. Or, hey, I've been thinking about you. I found a giraffe somewhere. I love that. Obviously, you work one-on-one with people, but do you also have any kind of like group coaching or group, vision board sessions, that type of thing?
We're actually in the process right now of scripting out an 8-week group coaching program. It's going to be a fully automated digital. It's going to be my voice guiding, but it won't necessarily be in person because people's schedules get busy. And of course, the in-person stuff and the one-on-one, it's a higher price point. So what we're doing now, working with my team and my coaches and mentors, is putting together this program. I believe it's going to be $97 or $127, full on 8-week automated course that will walk people through all of these moments and how to create them for themselves and to partially cheer them on, but also keep them going and growing through their process, because the biggest misconception about vision boards is it's one and done. I made a vision board. I want to wait for the universe to come knocking on my door with all this stuff I want. Nope. There's a reason I have a t-shirt that says on the back, friends don't let friends attend vision board parties, because that's what happens. And I'm not saying they're completely useless, because they're not. They're at least a trigger to inspire people of what they want, but they don't go to the depth that my programs do. My entire program is actually straight from my journals of putting my own life back together after completely obliterating it in the early 2000s, blew every phase of my life to dust, put it all back together. And thank God I took a ton of notes, because that's how I got to start helping other people. When, it's funny when they laugh at you when you wreck your life, but when you put it back together, they go, oh, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. Can you show me how you did that? I went back to 10 years worth of journals and created an entire learning program out of it.
And that sounds like a book to me.
It will eventually be, yeah. For now, it's just a 10-module audio learning program.
Fantastic. And is that something that people can sign up to get from you?
Oh, most definitely. It's called Vision Board Mastery. It's a handheld walk to the sound of my voice from where you are now to where you want to go.
Oh, I love that. So the only thing we didn't talk about, and we're gonna put some of the things you've already talked about in the show notes so people can click on it and go right there. Do you have like an ideal client, like avatar? Like, are your clients, aside from where they are in their life, are there other like demographic similarities?
Yeah, it's actually pretty evenly split. My audience and my speaking audience used to be about 60 women and 40% men. It's actually getting very close to 50-50. And the age demographics I work with most often are between 35 and 50. But there's some people that are 60 and kind of hitting their retirement age that say, look, I got plenty of life left in me, and I want to enjoy what I've got and stop falling for that old definition. So we could even say 35 to 60 then.
Yeah, I love that.
Clustered mostly in the middle, though, people who are still doing their thing, but they want to create a better result at the end of that road versus what they were originally promised.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a couple times about speaking. So do you do speaking for businesses, for seminars? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I've been keynote speaking for about 20 years. Of course, the pandemic wiped that out. So I've been dressing nicely from the waist up for the past four plus years. But I love doing keynote speaking. And what I do on stage is generally a very back to basic positivity, humor, storytelling, inspiring people to believe in themselves more and to identify what their goals are. So it's almost like a live in-person version of me coaching in a way, to help them find the best in themselves. Instead of the big rah, 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 buy my stuff type of speaker, I'm a storyteller. I go back to everything I wanted to be when I was 11. I get to be a host, an MC, a comedian a little bit, and a storyteller and a teacher of people. So it's all come full circle. My favorite, people sometimes say, well, Steve, you must love it. People right there in the front row, laughing at everything. I said, I aim for the shadows, the people that aren't in the light because maybe they don't feel like they're worthy of being in that room, or they'll sit way in the back so that they don't make eye contact. They won't raise their hand. They may not take any notes. They may sit there with their arms crossed, just waiting for some little nugget, because that's where I used to sit. That's where my self-esteem was. That's where my confidence wasn't. Those are the people that I care the most about to reach, are the people that just barely made it to the fringe. And I want them to walk out of that room and wake up the next morning and say, something that guy said really hit me. I got a little spark in my heart, and that helped me to understand where to go with it. As a speaker, my brand is known as Motivational Firewood. I own the trademark on that. And that's what that is all about, is to just take that little spark and just give it a little bit of fuel they can add, create some greater result for themselves. I'm so excited to be going back out on live stages, in-person stages again in 2025, finally.
I love that. So hashtag motivational firewood is what we're gonna include. That's fantastic. Well, Steve, if people want to reach out to you because they want to hire you to speak, or they want to get involved in your vision board programs or your upcoming program, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Nice and easy. If they go to .com, all that I have to offer is there on the main site. Just, the little drop downs and tabs, everything is there.
Fantastic. So one last question for you. If you could provide one tip to make the world a better place, what would that be?
Inspired by observing one of my grandfathers who never actually said the words, but he lived it. Leave as many situations as you can better than you find them, even in some small way.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Steve, this has been so much fun, and I'm so excited to go and check out your Facebook group and learn more about your vision board program. So thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us today on Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights. We hope you're leaving this episode with inspiration to take your coaching business and your life to the next level. If you found value in this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and share it with someone else who you think might benefit from hearing it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.